Qadry Ismail, the missile. He was drafted in the 1993 draft, second round by the Minnesota Vikings. 1993. There you go. What were you doing?
In 1993? Sophomore year? Penn State?
Really?
No, 93. I'm sorry. Junior year in high school. So you don't want to know what I was doing.
93. That's when Quadry was drafted by the Minnesota Vikings, second round. He's now part of the Baltimore Ravens network, calling games
from
there.
Wilkes-Barre, if I'm not mistaken. Northeast Pennsylvania.
You can ask him that. I don't know. I don't have that information.
I think he is.
Played for the Dolphins, Saints, Ravens. He won the Super Bowl with the Ravens team. And he's going to join us now to talk a little bit more. And a lot of it's about the game tonight. A lot of it, though, is, he's a veteran guy, or obviously not in the league anymore, but as a guy who was in the league, what these preseason games, how it's all kind of changing right before our very eyes, and what the Ravens' plan is tonight. Because, Quadry, first off, thanks for joining us, man. How you been?
Fellas, appreciate you guys having me on. And, 93 was a good year, even though it was others' junior year in high school. They're sitting there like, oh, my God, I need to wear a tux to the homecoming dance.
Yes, I think I was I might have been a junior in high school in 93. But
you are a Wilkes-Barre guy, right, Quadry?
I am from Wilkes-Barre.
That's what I thought. Very big Notre Dame area. Notre Dame / Penn State. A lot of rivalry up there.
Yeah, well.
Notre Dame, Penn State, yep, absolutely.
All right, so let me get your take on this. There's been a lot of talk. The Eagles not playing a lot of guys. A lot of teams around the league aren't playing a lot of guys. So as a guy who played in the league, what is your take on how the preseason is kind of looking in 2019?
I think 2019 preseason is one where people are being more real with their comments when it comes to, preseason NFL football. It's, just a stage in which you're trying to get, some bubble guys noticed. If you have, 90 guys in camp, and you're trying to figure out who you want to keep, who you don't want to keep, who you think is going to be good for your practice squad, what other teams around the league, what players do they have that might be a good fit for your squad. I mean, basically that's how, I look at it. And I think the rest of the league is trying to, keep their main guys that they know. Look, I got 22 guys that I'm looking out for. I know I got a couple other guys that'll be special teams and backups. I don't want to go into the season with these guys banged up, because if that happens, then I'm going to be, meaning the coaching staff, I'm going to be looking for a job. And so I think the more you can keep guys healthy, and gives you a better chance to compete with the rest of the league, and makes the fan base happy, makes the ownership happy, everybody's all happy. Kumbaya.
So do these guys get enough in practice and these, inter-squad scrimmages? Do they get enough to get prepared to play regular season games?
I think they do. I think part of it is, how do you feel from an OTA standpoint of grasping an offense, a defense, a special team? Sure, there's a timing and rhythm thing to it, but for the most part, in the joint practices or whatever, you're getting a little bit of that uptick in competition. You do what you need to do, and that's it. That's all you do. You shut it down, and then it's about working on your rhythm. And I think I'm sure the collective bargaining, there's going to be some talk and some leverage play on both sides of the aisle. Both the billionaires and the multimillionaires are going to come together and figure out a better way. But I think the fan and the product that you're seeing on the field, it's the G League of basketball, but you're paying full price for watching that G League or that developmental kind of football, and that's where I think gets the frustration of the fan base.
Quadry, as someone who's covered the league as a reporter for 15 years, I feel like I'm trying to differentiate for fans the difference between when people say the preseason's irrelevant. I feel like it's more that coaches have decided that the risk of severe injury to either quarterbacks or star players outweighs the experience and live action that you will see in an NFL game. That doesn't mean that the preseason itself, the action of it, is irrelevant. I just think that the risk of injury is greater. And so what I'm trying to say is, I do think that if you have a team and you can get guys even starters, some experience before they go into the grind of a season and get used to that speed of the game, it's helpful. That part of it to me is not irrelevant. I wanted to see if you agree or not.
No, I understand that. There's getting your body back into the proverbial football shape. I mean, camp is camp. And it's important to go into the grind of the camp. And John Harbaugh was saying, maybe it was 2 years ago, that when his guys were coming in and they were a little bit bugged by some hamstring injuries, he kind of looked at his off season and it was like, look, I know the collective bargaining agreement is designed to not wear guys down, but you need to calcify and get some callous. There's the word, not calcify, but you need to have like a calloused body, if you will, like
right.
that extra layer of just to get you ready for football. And I think he's right. It is important to differentiate, off season from in season to then gearing up for that regular season. And, if you can get that point where you can have your body ready to go, I think it really it benefits you as a player, and, it's only going to enhance your performance. But, I think at the same time, there are teams that, they have different approaches. I mean, some guys just like, I just want my guys healthy. I don't really care. Let me just get to the regular season. I just want them healthy. Other coaches, like a John Harbaugh, they'll really be smart and diligent about some of their practices and their hitting, and it actually prepares them for that first couple of weeks of the season. I think that's where some teams can really start off hot and look really good, is because of that calloused feeling that they have, and them mentally as well as physically ready to go.
Qadry Ismail, part of the Ravens broadcast team, and you just kind of mentioned it. Harbaugh likes to get these guys out there, so you anticipate that we will see most of the starters for a little while for the Ravens tonight?
Typically in previous years, he's put out guys in that kind of model of, first game, kind of first quarter, second game, we'll play a little bit in the second quarter, third game, is kind of dress rehearsal. I mean, he's done that, going on, 11 years or so. So now I think, for him to go away from that, it would be interesting because he has a young squad. So I'm anticipating him, playing, for the most part, all the guys that need to play and get their bodies right and get them ready. So maybe an Earl Thomas, even though he's a free agent and he's probably, still trying to pick up some of the nuance to Wink Martindale's defense, he's probably not going to be playing into, the second half. Whereas Lamar Jackson, Lamar recognizes he needs work because he's just such a young player. And I think that's where, you get into the extension of play with certain players depending upon their experience level and what they actually need.
Quadry, you mentioned Lamar Jackson. He's taken over the team. I mean, is he taking a big step? Is he a guy that I know that they brought in? What's the guy from here, right? I can't just name. Who's the offensive coordinator? Greg Roman. Yeah. Man, he lives in my hometown. I couldn't think of his name. That's how old I'm getting. See, 93 was a long time ago. Greg Roman, they brought in there to design an offense for him. So is it that Jackson looks like he's evolved and has gotten a lot better, or are they putting an offense to accentuate his positives?
Yeah, I think what Greg Roman has done a really great job of is having a guy in San Francisco and Colin Kaepernick that has a very similar skill set to what Lamar Jackson is about. And I think Lamar really, they simplify the nomenclature, but they have extended some of the way in which they get about running the football in different formation, different plays. They've put them in position where I think this offense is going to be a really unique but yet explosive one. They obviously are playing things close to the vest as far as the actual game planning when it comes to the preseason. But, what I think also has been great in the joint practices, whether it be with the Eagles or whether it be with the Jacksonville Jaguars, Lamar has been, just looking the part as a quarterback, not some guy that's trying to throw and not all the other, reports that have been out. Well, he can't throw. Maybe that was last year. Maybe he was nervous. Maybe he just didn't feel, as comfortable. But, what we're seeing from him in camp and, the 2 preseason games is a very poised quarterback, a quarterback that is spreading the ball around to the variety of weapons that the Ravens have put around him.
Quadry, were you able to watch any of the joint practices this week?
I did see some, and I think, from the overall picture of it all, I don't know about you, but, Philadelphia fans will be very pleased with not only, what their first team looks like, but I think just the competitive nature of what that roster is going to be. I mean, there's a lot of depth for what the Eagles are going to be going into this season.
Is Hollywood Brown healthy, and do you expect him to play tonight?
I could see them not playing him. I could put it this way. I could see them if he plays, because he was out there and then he wasn't out there. So you're like, all right, he went out, he did his thing, he looked fast, he looked, kind of, wet behind the ears on some plays, but definitely see his talent. But when they didn't play him again, I'm wondering again. We talk about that callous feeling. I'm wondering if that foot kind of is a little bit too sore, and they were going to throw caution to the wind and not play him tonight. If they do, I could definitely see it only being, just in the first drive or if maybe the second drive, and that's about it. Now, with that said, what the heck? He could be feeling fresher than fresh because of his day off, and I could be wrong, but that's what I think they're doing, a very conservative approach.
Qadry Ismail, the Ravens are in town. It is preseason game number 3. Some good preseason perspective for us here on the Boardwalk Honda Hotline. Quadry, thanks so much, man.
Appreciate it, fellas. Thanks for having me on.